Just in time, huh? This time. I don't got to rush today, so. I'm going to discuss something that kind of bothered me 2 weeks ago, actually. I'm going to present it today, though. And I want to see what's people's opinion, if I'm wrong, right? Because I'm always triggered. I'm always one who I react out of my, what's it called? My temper, per se. And then I'm always the bad guy. So Remy, please tap into this one. I need criticism. Let's see. Don't be soft because it's me. Be real with it. You know, like, you know me, I like it straight, direct, and straightforward. Don't BS me. Let it fill up a little bit, and I'm gonna discuss it though. I don't want to keep repetitive with the whole, what is the topic about? What are we talking about today? Thing. You know how many times that interrupts the whole situation every time that I get on a live, and it's like people just come in and it's like, oh, by the way, what's the topic about? It's like, oh God. Now I just have to inform everybody else that hasn't really joined in order for me to explain all that. I don't want to be redundant, because it's not fair to everybody else that actually joined in at the same time, right? So it's just basically let the room fill in a little bit. I know I just came in, see what happens and where it goes. And I don't even have a particular topic today, but there's one little incident that did happen. Kind of like has me bothered. But I know I'm not in the wrong, so I know I'm standing in my right ground. I know I ain't do wrong. I know I ain't do wrong. But you know me. I'm one that straightforward and directed with it. I know. And sorry I didn't get back to you. As soon as I got in that gym, I did arm day today. And these two little young kids, he asked, one little kid was like, what are you doing? That's for bicep? I said, you asking me or you telling me? You know, I kind of took it in the wrong way at first, but I was about to, put him in his place as far as where I was going to make a statement with. But I switched it all. I switched the whole theme around at the process. So I just was like, come here, let me show you something. Go get some weight, come here, and I'm going to teach you something. And he was receptive to it. And when he did, and I showed him a couple of workouts, the kid was like, yo, I see the difference. Now I understand. And I said, I think I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for about 18 years now, so I might know what's going on. I might know what I'm doing. I might know what I'm talking about. He's like, nah, I feel it. And that's only one set. I was like, yeah, exactly. Imagine. So everybody that's just coming in, thank you for coming through. I'm not trying to get into the topic yet because I don't want to be interrupted in the mix of while I'm speaking and asking me what the topic is about. Today, I'm not going off a topic. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. For the most part. So, Remy, as I was saying, this happened 2 weeks ago. I was dealing with my whole transferring from Verizon to Spectrum. So as I'm transferring internet services, if you know me, come on, man. Who cares about that? Like, I'm gonna disregard it. I'm not even going to block. Like, It's not even that serious. That doesn't even bother me no more, Remy. Honestly. But when I was in Colombia, that did bother me. That at that time. Now today is like, come on, man, I'm past that already. But anyway, where was I? So I was dealing with switching internet services. And if you know me, I do not like to talk to customer service for nothing. If I can avoid not talking to these customer services, I would. But apparently that's not how you get things done. So I had to make these phone calls. And it's funny because in order for you to disconnect from Verizon, you got to make 2 calls. One is for disconnection and another one is for a mailing kit. But luckily, I didn't go through the mailing kit. I actually went in person and dropped it off in person. Whatever. Fast forward, right? So I'm talking to Spectrum. Spectrum has 2 different things, so it's phone and internet. Go figure, instead of being one umbrella, right? But anyway, someone was texting me. It was like, oh, I was already frustrated. Like, I don't want to be on the phone having to listen to elevator music, plus waste my time to explain what I want, what I need, and etc. Right? Like, why do I have to? But it's a switch. But anyway, so someone is like, yo, it's gonna be all right. Don't get so frustrated. Mind you, when my calibration of focus is gone, I don't see, I don't feel, I don't think, I could care less. So all I said was, in redundant to it, like all I said was, listen, right now is not the time. Right now I'm not in the mood. Please. Like, basically leave me alone, right? But I wasn't trying to come off standoffish. Walk with me on it. So I allowed them to say what they said, and they was like, they're like, you don't have to get so upset or whatever. They're trying to be on a positive side. I get it. But at that moment, I needed to have a moment. Give me my space, give me my freedom, allow me to vent. Because no, I'm not perfect. No, I don't have it all figured out. No, I'm not gonna be here and act like I am Godish, right? Like, I'm not here to be, if anything, I hope I can inspire, motivate, or intrigue someone's mind in order for them to pursue their dreams. That's my main goal, right? Like, it's to hope to have stirred you in the right direction or in the right path or towards a book that's going to open an enlightenment. Yes, that's a goal. But to act like I have it all figured out and I'm perfect? No, I don't. Hell no. I'm not going to be here and act like I'm Jesus. Please forgive me. I'm not. So I told the person, listen, I'm having, like, not right now. Don't even, like, I don't want to hear it. Fast forward. The next reply back was, you know what, I'm not feeling your attitude lately, so I'm going to leave you alone, and I'm going to leave it at that. I said, oh, okay. I respect it. 1, I didn't reply back. 2, my observation. You see me performing at imperfection, right? Like, I'm doing everything great. Everything's awesome. Everything, communication, everything, right? But the moment I have a downfall, the moment I'm not performing at perfection, I'm being dismissed because I don't perform in perfection. So that goes to show me, and it tells me that in the long run, in the future, whenever I'm not performing in perfection, that I'm going to be looked at and seen as that being a downfall. But at the same time, it's going to be like, there's no room for error. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for not performing at your top peak. So I peeped it in the sense of, in the long term, that's going to be discussions that are going to eventually lead into arguments, and that arguments is going to be calibrating into negative. So I was like, you know what? I just left it alone. I said, I'm not going to interfere, interrupt, and I'm not going to entertain. You know, there was a video, actually. It's a little girl, and it says, people who come with their negative energy, and she's sticking out her hand like this, right? And it's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, and then she flicks the finger at the camera. And for me, it's like, dead ass, man. You come with that negative energy, I don't got time for it. On any level. I've worked on myself for so long, for so much, that I can tell from a distance little red flags. So those who put a high regard, a high standard with no room for error for others, one, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself for disappointment. And on top of that, to put that kind of pressure for someone to perform in perfection, are you setting that same tone for yourself? Are you calibrating on that same tone for yourself? Because if you're going to have that type of mentality, that means you have judgment mentality. We're not here to make others feel like if they're inferior, insufficient. If anything, you want to give that person high harmony. But you don't want to, if you're dealing with someone, you don't want to be having that, like, that high regard, but at the same time, you don't have no room for failure. And then when someone's having a moment, allow them to have that moment, that time, that space, because you're just inviting aggravation and hesitation that's going to lead to a future discussion that's going to turn into an argument. So to avoid all, hey Jackie, happy Friday. To avoid all, like, I'm not one for the nonsense, right? Like, I don't want to be arguing with nobody. And I would dismiss myself. If you're on that type of vibe, that's just the energy you're on. Like, I don't entertain arguing with nobody. Especially now. Hello? Oh, from last week. Correct. I didn't really have a topic today per se, but that was something that I wanted to get off my chest, because I felt like, I know I ain't say anything wrong. I just said, like, I'm not in the mood and not right now. That's all I said. And for the next response was to be, hey sweetheart, no, I didn't say anything to her. Hello? I didn't say anything to that person per se. I left it alone. I never replied back. I never said anything. I don't want to turn things into... So, I didn't want to make it seem like if I was being... Because I didn't want to be looked like if I was crazy. But I know that I seen from my peripherals that was kind of like a sign that would have turned into something crazy. I don't... Like, my mind is on blank today, for real. I haven't been really sleeping for the last night I actually got some sleep, but the night before that, I got like 2 hours in both nights. So my mind is kind of clouded. But it don't have no clarity in it. But But it just surprises how people portray to be a certain way in front of you in discussions. How can I state that? I said right now is not the time. Meaning I need the space. But for you to come back and be dismissive after I said what I said, that's being dismissive. So in my eyes, in my interpretation, it means that peace, I don't want to speak to you no more. And I will not call back. I will not reach out. I'm not going to continue to be extending the hand. Like you said what you said, and what you said was clear. What you said was clear in the sense of, I don't want to be bothered by you anymore after this text. For example, if I call you, you send me the voice note, but then you reply back in text, is that saying that I don't want to speak to you, or is that trying to be like, I don't value your phone call, I don't value you as a person? Yes or no? So I know I'm not wrong. These are two different situations with the same individual. So you can't say that I wasn't, one, being communicative, I wasn't communicating, excuse me. No. You can say that, yeah, but when I say it was an important phone call, you know I don't call for no reason. If I'm reaching out for a phone call, I got something to say. I was trying to bring some clarity, but I got disregarded. That's the way I seen it. So me, I'm not going to put nobody on the pedestal, put it that way. You don't have the time, that's fine, but at the end of the day, that's the way I interpret. Because how is it that you got a minute to not pick up, but then the next minute you got to reply through a text? It means that I don't want to be bothered. You know, it's all love there. But no, this is before the whole, that part. You know, it was before I said I need a moment. Not right now. This is two different separate situations. But it just shows me how people move. And then people always ask that number one question, why are you still single? Because I could read and filter the red flags before they turn into something serious. Once you know how to filter situations that identify what people's true calibration of their way of thinking is, it's how you, one thing is to how you deliver, right? How to express, to how to articulate, to be in adequacy of what you need to say. But it's another thing to be dismissive. It's another thing to be dismissive. So in regard to being dismissive, I'm going to let it be. That's it. There's no need to be okay. Your approach, your way, your deliverance, your expression, Respect it. Let it be. So be it. Thank you. Exactly what the interpretation I was under. That's the message I got. I remember reading something that says the language of someone's body language says a lot, right? But then if you read between the lines of someone's saying, you can actually interpret what they really mean. So I always try to look between the lines and see what someone is trying to say to me before I actually respond. Text messages are so only for so it's like to be bland, right? Like if you like text messages can be can be misinterpreted and taken in a wrong way. I like to literally verbally talk because there's no misinterpretation in the mix of what the tonality on how I'm expressing or saying whatever is on my mind. But a text can only mean and go so far. Phone call is the way to communicate. Like this whole technology nonsense, since I remember growing up, we didn't have phones, right? Like my daughter thinks that phone's been around forever. I'm like, yeah, a house phone, which the cord would literally take you from the living room into the kitchen. But otherwise, you could. There wasn't even wireless phones back then. Yes, 100%. Me personally, if I could have it every time, face to face is the best way to go about it. Remember that long cord that would just be hanging off the counter of the kitchen table? Things were so different back then. What about the rotary phone? Like, that's when you really go taking it back. I remember having a set of pliers on the TV to be or a hanger being the hitting the it was actually the antenna for the TV to get reception. Star 69, I don't even know if that existed back then, right? Like the last phone call that called me, call him back. Then beepers came out. Beepers was the way to get in contact with someone, which at that time as well, only the people who were hustling in the streets were using mainly. Then cell phones came out and they were the size of a brick, but it was wireless. Remember that? When you had to turn the knob to changing the channel on the station. I grew up with the extension cord. The extension cord today is like this thin. The extension cord back then was thick, and they were designed not to break. That's when real things last. Today, everything is designed to break fast and easy. Personally, cartoons back in the days. I don't even think these kids have cartoons today. But the one thing I do have cartoon fetish with my daughter when it comes to her is the Minions. I just think they're the funniest ones out there. The Minions, and then they have this new character ones Bugs Bunny used to be up on Saturday mornings. And the Roadrunner and Tasmanian Devil. That's what they used to call me. They did. Samity Sam. That was one of my favorite. Little guy with 2 guns. Shoot everybody in the face. And he wasn't afraid to shoot. And he was from Texas. Go figure, right? The coyote. There. I was born in 78, so it kind of goes way back. Back into time. Hey, love. How are you? Beautiful house, by the way. All love. Excuse me. Oh, kids' cartoons from back in the days. Same here. You're welcome. Same here. When it comes to... I think you can't lose the kid in yourself, because the moment you lose the kid in yourself, you lose how to connect with the kids. Hi. I think you lose your essence, your true self, right? Because at the end of the day, if you forget how to be you, you was originally a child at one time, once upon a time. If you lose the child in you, you lose how to be, how to connect with your emotions. Because everything is, that's where the foundation of emotion is actually comes from, right? Because that's where everything comes and starts from the beginning, where the household is actually the example of what life is going to look like for your future household. So if you came from a dysfunctional household, which 99% of us do, but that actually showed you and modeled for you what not to do for your own household. So if you don't want to be in a household full of cigarettes, for example, just an example, that's not what harmony. Let's just say you come into a household. Your household was your dad beating on your mom. Just saying. And when you grow up as an adult, you don't want that in your household. So you will not tolerate, you will not. But what ends up happening is you attract a mate because you have a broken side of you of what you don't want, what you see as a dysfunction. You become dysfunctional because you think it's normal. Because that's what you saw growing up. So it becomes the norm, which actually you know deep down inside it's wrong. So it's like, how do you model something that you never had? So I try to be the example for my daughter because I feel like I'm trying to set the bars, because right now she has a little friend who, this little girl is supposedly her best friend. Her best friend has a friend who is, how do you say it without being offensive to anyone? She's on the funny side. Enjoy, have fun with dinner. Tell Harmony I said hello. Good night for you. Let's just say that the little girl is funny, right? She likes what she likes. It's none of my business, I don't care. But it becomes an issue for me is because my daughter is trying to say, hey, I want to be friends with that kid. Why is it so important for you to be friends with some kid you don't even know because your best friend is talking about this kid? And what bothers me the most about my daughter is she tends to be falling into the follower side instead of learning how to be a leader. And I've told her all the time, always know how to lead. If everyone in this room, for example, was to be a follower of me, I would teach them how to become a leader, because I don't need you to follow me for anything, right? If anything, it's to prepare the mind, to prepare the heart, to structure the person, to be able to walk in their true essence. That's what I would work on, right? The calibration of the mind, the conditioning of the heart, to be able to connect the heart, the mind with the heart, and have you operate in your soul and spirit. So when I see these funny things happening and my daughter's expressing them to me, I'm knowing not to be responsive, but it's kind of like disappointing in the sense of, yo, what are you trying to tell me? Because I read everything between the lines, and the way you interpreting this thing is like you really find significance in this person and you don't know them from a hole in the wall. I tried teaching her that, and she's my only child, so it's like I got it all in on one bet. I got one bet. One time, because I'm not doing it again. I'm 10 years in, and it's another 10 years before I'm out. And after that, then I want to be actually, I would travel. I'll travel more. It's just more like I want to be, if she needs me, I want to be present. I want to be available. I want to be at her beck and call, right? But she leans more towards the mother. I don't have nothing, I have no issue, no resentment towards that. I don't care. But I wish she leaned more towards me, because I bring and offer knowledge. I offer insight. I offer, how can I peel the layers of the onions of your mind so that I can show you who you truly are. I know the mother can't do that. The mother does and means well, but it's information and knowledge that she's not aware of, that she doesn't hold. So how am I going to be able to trust the mother to be able to nurture the daughter into the sense of who she's to be blossomed to become, the person that she was designed and destined to be? And that's where it becomes an issue for me. I do. And she swears that I'm like reprimanding her all the time. Yeah, I see that. Different stages that don't need to be entertained by. If she could just be, she's only 10. I swear she's 17. She wants to be doing what she wants to do. She wants to act however she wants to act, and she doesn't want to be told what to do. And I feel like it's because she's the middle child at the moment syndrome, where they don't feel like they're being seen, they don't feel like they're being heard, and they don't feel like they're being validated. I accept who she becomes, and I can only be supportive in who she turns out to be. But at the end of the day, right now, this is the time you listen to me. I'm not trying to control you. I'm only trying to guide you. I know you are your own person, but right now you don't know any better. So allow me to shape, form, and cultivate you so I can prepare you into what life leads you towards. Allow me to be your coach, and allow me to be your dad so I can teach you in ways that you have no ideas of who you could become. I give her the ability to be able to be expressive so she could speak her mind. I learned in some of the books that I've read to be, when they are opening up and being vulnerable, do not push and react. If anything, allow them to give the space and keep your mouth shut, so that, because then later on in the future they won't be able to express themselves or trust you or come to you. So you got to be able to control your mind, control your thoughts, and allow to pull back and allow them to be. For the most part, she can trust me and she knows that I mean well. But at the same time, some of the things that I wish she would just listen to and take heed to, that I only mean well. But in today's world, the things are so tricky that when you're being straightforward, which I am always, it seems to be like it backfires sometimes. That's where it becomes tricky. You don't no one want to see their kids doing worse or doing bad for themselves. You want them to do better for themselves. Kids are offspring. They're a reflection of you as a person, as a parent. It's what they learned from the foundation of home. They go and be little people in the world, soon to become adults. The one thing is you can never turn back and become a child. You're a one-time child. So basically, keep informing, keep speaking, keep sowing seeds into their mind so that it can eventually be taken root into their heart, so they can become and eventually be a reflection, mirroring back everything that you have said, that you have basically, they took in everything off of what you have said. Yeah, I can see where you could say that is true, because at the end of the day, my mom, for example, has sown a lot of wisdom into me, and this is a product of who I became today. I get it. I'm not slow. Pick up real fast. Because it's always better to get from a woman's perspective than a guy, because a guy is, we click to only think logical thinking. We don't think on the emotional side so much because we're not allowed to tap into that side. But in order to be vulnerable, you got to be able to be receptive. Receptive is receiving. Receiving is feminine. Feminine is dark. Feminine is dark. That's the emotional side. To be in your masculine is to be in the light. To be in white, masculine is logical thinking. Everything is logical. We are designed to lead. We're designed to lead. Women are to be submissive only when they're comfortable to trust, to be submissive. Right? All that plus, you got to have emotional intelligence. You got to be able to understand what self-mastery means. Master your mind, master your heart, master your emotions, master your words of expression, and master your feet. And what area and what direction and what instruction and guidance that you take in from your internal being. I believe in the higher self actually guiding this version, the 3D version of me, is the one that's altering, guiding me into the path that I have been destined and created for. It's only been, the pavement has been laid. It's up to me to walk through it, which will only lead to greatness. Even the challenges that we face, I believe your higher self is actually bringing those, what we will call oppositions, but I believe that they're lessons. Those lessons turn into blessings, and the blessings turn into actually valuable, that have substance, that bring a whole lot of information. But we tend to see things from a different perception, from a different perspective, and actually see things for a stumbling block. It is actually a stepping stone. If you look at them from the right calibration and from the right perspective, you will see that the steps are actually steps to rise higher. God, gee. Sorry, just... You gotta know how to able to tap into that side of me, that I'll be able to pour out like a fountain. There's so much stored information in here, and I just don't know how to get it out a lot of times. But the right question and the right statement being said actually pours out and it leaks out of me. Sometimes I gotta learn how to keep my mouth shut. I believe people can't even comprehend half of the stuff that I have stored in here, that I don't even have the wording in order to be expressed, just so that you can get the interpretation or the understanding behind it. Because at the end of the day, I was asking a friend of mine yesterday, and I was like, do you believe that everything around us is an illusion? Nothing is really real. We don't even exist. We're just it's kind of like the Matrix slash, what's the name of that movie with the blue people? And it's kind of like Matrix, but they're blue. Avatar. I believe that is real. I believe that a higher conscious of us, which meaning the version of who we're supposed and destined to become, the best version of us. It's kind of hard. You're asking for a lot. But anyway, I was asking. I read in this one book, and this blew my mind, and I read this almost about 6 months ago. No, maybe last year. Sorry. Last year. So over 6 months ago. There's a lady named Dolores Cannon, and those who follow me and see my repost, you already know that Dolores Cannon and that gentleman, I forget his name, the bald-headed guy, I always repost whatever videos they put up. So Dolores Cannon, in one of her books, she says, when you leave your house, it disappears. Just walk with me for a second. So the moment that because your presence is there, it becomes foundational. But the moment you leave, it evaporates. And only exists because everyone is coming into agreement, focusing because they've seen it from a perception. They're all in alignment, they're all in agreement, and it becomes foundational. It becomes solid. And I saw a video actually today where a little girl was riding a bike, and in front of her it was no concrete. It was just like dirt. But it was an open road with nothing on it. As she rode the bike through the empty space, the gap, all of a sudden the floor started to fill in the space that she was riding the bike in. And that's exactly what I was trying to explain to someone, that I said, do you believe that we're standing here, that the moment that you take a step forward, all of a sudden it becomes solid? Everything is an illusion. Nothing really exists. So why is it that we hesitate to become the greatest version of who we're supposed to become? Why do we question? Why do we doubt? Why do we fear? And why do we allow the limitations we placed in our own mind to be from ever pursuing the dream that we were passionate about at one time? Is that the one with is that the little kids one, or is that the, because you said you relate with movies to kids? I believe movies are just, your movies are your news, and your news are your movies. That's my theory, right? Everything that's being said in a movie is actually subliminal message being told for you to interpret and for you to break it down. I didn't see the second one. I only saw the first one. So, but I don't recall any foundation being formed as you take a step forward. I didn't see. I saw the first one, but I didn't see the second one. My daughter wanted to see it last week, and I told her, let's go this weekend. Now her sister's actually graduating from high school and going to college. So I was supposed to go get her today. That's why I'm not even in a rush. Usually I'm off by 5 o'clock and I gotta keep it moving. will be doing. I actually want to take her to see the Minions one. Oh, Doctor. But where was I? This is one that challenges your mind. But anyway, like I was saying, I believe that everything is illusion. Yes, my sister's graduating today from high school. I believe everything is illusion. So every step that we take, it ends up becoming form and becomes foundation. It becomes solid. And the only reason why it becomes solid is because you don't question. Just like you don't question breathing, you don't question the step you take. You just depend on it. Hey, Laura. You depend that it's there, it's present, it manifests. You have that power to create anything that you desire, as long as you believe in it to become, and as long as you believe in it for it to become true. Thank you. Like my mind is kind of like, how do you call it? Damn. Dr. White. I need to get some sleep. I don't know how some people do with 2 or 3 hours of sleep, but I need some sleep. And hopefully tomorrow's chest and tricep. Yeah, so tomorrow's chest and tri. All right. I'm about to get off of this. That's because you get the real side. But I was thinking about that. That still bothers me, right? Like, just imagine you leave your house and it's not there. But it becomes present and it takes form when you start to come towards it. The very street, the very ground that you walk on manifests and becomes solid for every step that you take forward. But the moment you look back, it looks like it's there, but imagine that it's not. It's an illusion. I'm trying to put the vocabulary to express it correctly because it's just dumbfounded when it comes to imagining it in my mind. In order for it to become solid, it's something that doesn't exist, but it only exists because you have become present in it. So imagine that every step you take all of a sudden becomes real. Just because it looks like it, so it's an illusion that it's not really there. But the moment you put that foot down, you automatically trust. And that same trust is what I'm talking about. Yes, I couldn't say it better. I can't compete with your mentality. But I can definitely challenge it. That I can say. That I know. So just imagine, right? Everything, it's like I want to have the vocabulary. I can see it playing it in my mind, but I can't express it in words. Wherever you go, you're manifesting everything. Everything that you see, everything that you interact with, the very people that cross your path. From the cars that you see, from the planes that you see flying by, from the trains that you hear, from everything that comes into existence, into your scenery, your peripherals, is actually created by you. From the ground you walk on. Like this still, I'm still trying to create the vocabulary for it so I can paint the perfect picture, because for order for you to understand and grasp the true depth of what I'm trying to say, is that's the very same power, very same pivotal place that you're supposed to get to in order for you to create the very things that you want to create, which is the abundance. And I don't just mean abundance of wealth. I mean abundance in peace, the abundance of happiness, abundance of joy, abundance of courage, the abundance of strength, the abundance of, it's so many aspects and dynamics that you can take abundance and break it down, because it's not just not mean money. There's so many people who have so much, but they lack in other areas, right? And then there's those who lack and they have abundance in them areas, but lack in the total opposite. What I'm trying to create or speak on, have abundance in every area. There is no lack. Remove that word from out of your mind, and you'll remove it out of your world. Everything that you ever see and interact with, and the life that you are experiencing, has been created by you, because you're the author, you're the painter, you're the creator, you're the one that's making it all happen, because of your vibration, your frequency, and your energy is actually creating everything and putting it into existence in order for you to interact and engage with. If I can just say thank you, I will. No, but I just want to, if I can just put in words what I see, it'll have you thinking like it, as much as it's had me focusing and thinking on it. But I'm about to get off this. I don't want to spend the rest of the night here. Thank you for those who came through, interacted, and engaged. Thank you for everybody that'll show love. Thank you for those who revisit and come by and stop by this, even just to say hi, whatever the case is, or just to hear my rebuttal. Thank you for showing support and showing love. Enjoy your weekend. And just think about that. Let that cross your mind. I don't have the vocabulary for it though. I see it in my mind. I can see it. Right? I'm going to try one more time. The very seat you're sitting on only exists because you're sitting on it. All forces came together to create the seat that you're sitting on because you sat on it. The moment you go to reach something only exists because you're reaching for it. That's the power that you have in creating everything that you come across. This chapstick does not exist the moment I put it down. But me reaching for it, all forces put it together and form it and then make it come true. It becomes real. It becomes tangible. It becomes substance because I reached out for it. Say that to say is The same goes and the same applies when it comes to your dreams, to your purpose, to your passion, to your destiny, to your reason of existence. You're a living legend. You have a legacy to leave behind. Yet, you're hesitant because you don't believe it to be possible, because you think it's impossible. The very fears and the very doubts that you are hesitant to face, thank you, Laura. The very fears and the very doubt that you're hesitant to move towards is the actual reason why you're supposed to move towards it. Those fears, the reason why people who are successful, or those who are wealthy, is because they're not afraid to lean into their fears. I swear to God. I be believing I manifest that every Friday. I need to erase that imagery out of my mind and the existence of my world, because I cannot tolerate it anymore. Anyway, even that is created by one's true self. But anyway, everybody enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Dr. White, for creating it, allowing me to try to challenge the expression one more time. But that's the best way I can express it. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. All right.